Knowing how stressful grocery shopping and meal prepping can be, for this What I Eat in a Week video, I thought I'd share a little bit about how I grocery shop and meal prep to make cooking at home as stress-free as possible. When writing out a grocery list, I map it out into categories to make sure I'm covering all my nutrition bases: proteins, carbs, fats, probiotics, veggies, fruit, flavor boosters, and snacks. In order for me to decide what I want to cook that week, I ask myself a few questions. Number one, what am I trying to incorporate into my diet at this time? For example, before I got pregnant, I used to make dishes where I could use sunflower and sesame seeds or pumpkin and flax seeds to help balance my hormones. Question number two, what fruits and veggies are seasonal at that time? Seasonal produce is often much more nutritious and less expensive than imported produce. Question number three, what grocery items are on sale? I like to use an app called Flip, which has the flyers for most grocery stores in North America. Question number four, what ingredients do I already have at home that I need to use up? Before I go grocery shopping, I often clean my fridge because this helps me keep tabs on food that might be hiding in the back. An organized fridge also makes me more excited to meal prep. Based on the answers to these questions, I decide on 1 or 2 breakfasts and 3 or 4 lunches and dinners to make that week, and I write down the ingredients needed for them. I like to pick quick and easy meals because I don't want to spend more than 4 hours a week on cooking. If coming up with recipes takes a lot of mental space, I'd recommend checking out this app by Pickup Limes. It has a ton of plant-based recipes that you can choose based on your nutrition needs. It organizes your ingredients in a grocery list, and it even carries you step by step through the process of cooking one of their recipes. I'll leave a link in the description below to learn more about them. The Pickup Limes app isn't free, so as an alternative, I'd also be happy to make another YouTube video on how to decide what to cook. Let me know in the comments below if that's something you'd be interested in. Okay, so once I've decided on my grocery list, I head over to the store. One of the first things I do is go to the discount rack in the produce section, in case they have any fruits or veggies that are already on my list. Sometimes the produce is a little sad, so you might have to rummage through, but I usually get some really good deals. For example, instead of 2 kiwis for $1, I can get 8 discount kiwis for $2 and cancel one of the other fruit on my grocery list. These kiwis are pretty ripe, so I would probably use some of them in a smoothie to make sure they don't go bad. Similarly, instead of this pack of bell peppers for $4, I can get double the amount for $3. And if I don't want to use all the bell peppers that week, I can just chop them up and freeze them to use in a soup another week. This is what my fridge usually looks like after a grocery run. It's not super full, it just has what I need that week, and that's exactly the way I like it, to ensure I'm not forgetting about any ingredients and wasting any food. This week's breakfasts include fruit, semolina porridge, and Chinese pancakes and bok choy, alongside some cold coffee, Earl Grey lattes, and chai. And this week's lunches and dinners include chicken salad lettuce wraps, veggie soup, naan pizza, and some shrimp and asparagus. Everything can be made in batches and stored for 3 to 4 days. My best friend Caitlin was visiting while I was filming this week, so we ended up eating outside for almost half the meals. But if we were eating all our meals at home, our grocery bill would still come up to $25 per person. When cooking meals for this week, I also did use up a few ingredients that were already in my pantry, fridge, and freezer, and I made sure to make a list of those for full transparency. On Monday, one of our friends gifted us a box of Cinnabon, so we decided to have that for breakfast with some watermelon.
Here's the thing. I do believe that it is Cinnabon pause. It's like that's like what you just did. I'm not even gonna lie.
And then for lunch, we went out for some doubles, which are curry chickpeas served in between two fried flatbreads from Trinidad and Tobago. It was Caitlin's first time trying doubles, so I was very excited for her.
The hot sauce? Yeah, it's perfect.
For dinner, we made some chicken salad lettuce wraps. This is a great meal to prep with someone else because one person can shred the rotisserie chicken while the other can cut the veggies. Along with the rotisserie chicken, we added celery and green onions, and then we seasoned it with some mayo, mustard, some extra dill salad dressing that was lying around in my fridge that I needed to use up, relish, salt, and pepper. During the summer, which is when I filmed this video, I love eating this chicken salad with lettuce and cucumbers for a lighter meal.
Because we're so happy. I know. Okay, I'm gonna try doing like something like cucumber. I like it. I feel like a really good crunch.
The next morning, Caitlin made her first cup of iced coffee. This is part of our journey to open a cafe together one day, so it was a very big deal. And we paired that with another half Cinnabon and some strawberries. For lunch, we had leftover chicken salad lettuce wraps. While watching a Korean drama, I got Caitlin hooked onto one of my faves, Rookie Historian Gu Hae-ryung. For dinner, we cooked some veggie soup in my Instant Pot. We sauteed some green onions, garlic, bell peppers, and rehydrated mushrooms with cumin, paprika, thyme, bay leaf, salt, and pepper. And then added the water that the mushrooms rehydrated in to deglaze the pot. We then fished out the mushrooms because I wanted to cut it into smaller bits and add it to the soup later. And then we added tomato paste, vegetable stock, the rind from a block of cheese that I stored in the freezer, and grated potatoes, which just melt into the soup and help thicken it. While the soup was cooking, I made a gremolata by mixing together fresh parsley, minced garlic, lemon, and salt, and I topped the soup with that. The next morning, we got 2 free iced coffees, but neither Caitlin or I are really coffee drinkers. So I decided to make a coffee milkshake by adding some Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream, nutmeg, cinnamon, and salt. We enjoyed this coffee milkshake with some Chinese pancakes and bok choy. The Chinese pancakes were already frozen, so we just had to fry them, and we decided to top them off with green onions and cheese for extra flavor. We had this with a side of bok choy, which I blanched and then seasoned with doenjang, which is a Korean soybean paste, garlic, sesame oil, and sesame seeds. I had a doctor's appointment in the afternoon, so we decided to grab some snacks close by.
Brazilian Korean fusion.
And then for dinner, we had the last bit of the chicken salad and added a grilled cheese sandwich since we were pretty hungry that day. I gotta say, the unintentional cheese pull from this grilled cheese was spectacular. The next morning, I had an early meeting, so I had a very light breakfast, an Earl Grey iced latte, which I like to make with cinnamon, vanilla, and maple syrup, alongside some cherries. I really love eating fruit during the summer months. And then for lunch, we decided to mix and match a little. We took some of the rotisserie chicken that was left over and mixed that into the soup we made. And we had that as a filling for the lettuce and cucumber, along with some leftover Creole rice from my freezer. I love experimenting with food, especially when the result turns out so good. For dinner, we decided to cook naan pizza. Basically, we topped some naan with butter chicken sauce that I had left over from when I ordered Indian food. And then we added some veggies. Here we're using eggplant and bell peppers, but you can use whatever you like. We topped that off with cheese, oregano, and green onions, and then bake that for 10 to 15 minutes. I have a whole video with this recipe, so you can check that out if you're interested. Watching Korean dramas got us craving Korean snacks, so we decided to do a little H-Mart haul and came back with some seaweed chips, choco churros, turtle chips, and smoked squid.
Oh, I have to show the shape. Okay. Can you get a slice?
Oh my god. Yum. This is so worth it.
This reminds me of like jerky. I love it. I love that.
The next morning, I decided to make some chai and drink it in this cute coconut mug that my godmother got me. And we paired that with soji cake, which is basically semolina porridge steamed so that it looks like a cake. My mom used to make it this way for me when I was a kid to make porridge more exciting. To honor her, we decided to cut the soji cake into slices and blow out some candles. I wanted Caitlin to try the Caribbean food in Toronto, so we ordered some jerk chicken sandwiches and Jamaican patties for lunch, and obviously had it with some ting. Ting. We decided to go out for dinner, so had some pre-drinks on our front patio to celebrate our friendship and the trees. We were exhausted the next morning after dinner, so we had leftover soji in our own zones and then went grocery shopping to TNT for the next week. I like to do my grocery shopping before I totally run out of food so that I don't feel pressured to cook as soon as I get my groceries. While we were at T&T, we got really hungry, so we decided to grab some fried rice, sausages, and veggies. I love T&T. For dinner, I stir-fried some shrimp, which was marinated in ginger, garlic, and Creole seasoning, as well as some asparagus, which I marinated in balsamic vinegar, salt, and pepper. I topped the leftover Creole rice from the freezer with the shrimp and sprinkled some garlic shrimp salt onto the asparagus. This meal was so delicious that my dog could not resist the smell. Here he's demanding that he get some, and I'm warning him not to test my patience. He finally realizes I mean business and decides not to push his luck. We slept in the next day, Caitlin, I, and even my dog Lychee, and then went out for a Korean brunch. Caitlin had sambap, which is Korean rice lettuce wraps, for the first time.
But I also put the sauce on the lettuce. Yeah.
This, okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna do that. Super instructive. Actually, this is good. This could be like, you know, we're talking about how people need instructional videos. This could do an instructional video. Okay, what do I do next?
meat.
Okay. I'm gonna use my chopsticks for that. Unless, was it really hot?
Yeah, it's hot.
Okay, what next?
Then you eat it.
I'm ready. It is green just like me.
And then for dinner, we had some leftover pizza. This is the only meal this week that can't just be microwaved when you want to eat it. But if you want to batch cook it, you can totally underbake the pizza and then freeze it. And then when you want to eat it, you just have to pop it straight from the freezer into the oven for 10 to 15 minutes or until the pizza is heated through and the cheese has fully melted. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for joining Caitlin and I as we cook and eat. If you have any questions about grocery shopping, meal prep, or any of the recipes we made, let us know in the comments below. See you soon, macaroon!